90% of the self-help books that are published, approximately 500,000 books are published every single year just in the United States alone, and 90% of them fail. Now, the question is, do you actually go down the route of writing a book, writing a nonfiction book, or just say, hey, 90% of the books fail, so I'm going to stay out? I want to talk about that on why those 90% of the books fail and what you can do about it. Okay, so that's what our topic is today.
Real question is this: as a business, as an investor, as someone whose success lies in getting in front of the right people, people who will do business with us, how do we break through obscurity? How do we break through the noise? How do we showcase our message, our opportunities, and our offers in front of the right people? That is the question, and this show has the answer. My name is Raza Aziz. Welcome to The Bold Entrepreneur.
So here's the thing. I remember I was introduced to the book publishing industry back in 2013. I'll tell you what happened. I was at that time in 2013, end of 2012. I had come out of a crashed business. I had a venture, I had some success in it, and then it just crashed. 2013 was possibly the darkest year of my life. And the people who were working with me, because we were partners and our business crashed, and everybody was losing hope, and I couldn't stand that. And this is possibly the first time ever in my life that I turned to books, not just to help myself, but to help others. And I would read books from John Maxwell and Tony Robbins, and listen to Les Brown's audios, all of that stuff. And I would take snippets from these books and kind of do, back in 2013, I was doing like these Skype sessions, right? So I would do these Skype sessions and teach chapters and book summaries, and Think and Grow Rich, create workbooks off that to help people continuously move forward in life, regardless of any setbacks and failures. Just continue to do that. I was doing that for free. Um, because I felt bad, I felt guilty, I felt hopeless that that people, okay, we can't just give up because of failures. So anyways, lo and behold, a couple of months into me doing that, one of my business partners, she was in South Africa, and she calls me up. She's like, Raza, I have a nephew in Toronto, and he's in real estate. He's new, and maybe the kind of things that you talk about, maybe he could benefit from it. Would you do me a favor and connect with him, and maybe you can work with him? So I said, sure. And I connected with the gentleman. He was new to real estate, and he's like, "Yeah, Raz, I know what to do, but I'm just not performing at you know, the level that I can be performing at." So I'm like, "Dude, listen. Here's the thing. Let's just work kind of unofficially. I won't charge you any fees or anything like that. But over the next 6 months or so, if you make this many sales, if you end up making this many sales, then you just pay me percentage from your sales." He's like, cool. So we started working together. Lo and behold, based on my work, based on the accountability that I created with him, and I helped him establish his, new real estate business. And he, broke his threshold of the sales and the calls that he was making and all of that stuff. And it was great. And this is when I had an aha moment. And I'm like, I think I know what I want to do. I want to be a coach. I want to be a business coach for new entrepreneurs. And I created an entire framework based on what I was teaching these people. And I was so excited. I called up my friend Bob. I said, Bob, let's meet up. And I said, Bob, I want to be a coach for new entrepreneurs. I just helped this realtor guy, and this is what happened. And Bob's like, how did this all come about? And I gave him a 45-minute lecture, an entire dissertation about where I was, what happened, all of that stuff. I gave him a story. At the end of it, he goes to me, Bob looks at me in the eye. He's like, dude, you ought to write a book. I'm like, What? Like, write a book? And I don't know if anybody has ever told you to write a book or everybody has, said that to you. But right in that moment, as soon as he said that, first of all, it was out of the blue. Secondly, I I didn't want to write a book. I'm not a writer. I don't know anybody who is a writer. My family, my friends, nobody's a writer. Nobody's an author. Nobody's an author. So I'm like, dude, no, I want to be a coach for new entrepreneurs. I don't want to be a writer. He's like, no, shut up. And he dragged me in a few weekends to a seminar where I learned about books and why you would benefit from writing a book, how you use your existing experiences and compile it into a book and use it as a way for you to differentiate yourself from others who do what you do. And that's what the journey was. Fast forward to today, I'm a partner in a publishing company. Over the past, like, really, oh boy, because of the book, I mean, I've had tons of speaking opportunities on stages from crowds as small as 50 people to as large as 5,000 people. And because of that book, because of the way I learned to leverage a book, quite frankly, my life just changed. The kind of stages that I was on, I had a privilege to speak on stages like Get Motivated and Peak Potentials and mastermind events and hundreds of multi-day workshops that I have run here in Canada, United States, Europe, some in Africa, and all of that stuff. It's just been an amazing ride. But here's what I want to talk about. As I embarked on this journey, one of the things that I came across, a lot of people who want to write books. I met them not just here, locally. I've met them all over the world. People who want to write the books, one, they don't get it done, right? Like they've been thinking about it for not just a few weeks or months. They've been thinking about it for years and some for decades. So they never got it done. Number two, when they do go on the journey of writing a book, they write a really crappy book, right? And I'll define what that is. Because when you look at the statistics that was put out by Forbes and Bowker Research and all of that stuff, you'll find that it says that just in the United States alone, there are over 500,000 books that are published, self-help nonfiction books, and 90% of them fail. Now, what is meant by failure? That means, according to the statistics, 90% of the books never sell 100 copies of their books. So, what's the point of writing a book? Why do so many books fail? Why is it that I had a platform to create, using my book to create an amplification for myself? I'm going to talk about that. And just as a side note, by the way, this is something that I'm sure you have noticed that as well, that the world has changed, right? You don't need me. He's like, Raza, you're not a genius to tell us that. Of course, because you already know that, right? The world has already changed. The world changed in 2020, right? The way the digital world changed, the way organizations had to think differently, the way the online medium just took off, and all of that stuff. And then again, November 2022, the world changed again drastically, right? You do know what happened, right? November 2022. So this was a whole time when ChatGPT came about and everything like that, and the game of content and creativity and all of that stuff just completely changed. And mark my words, the world is going to change extremely fast over the next 6 months. And the economy that we are in right now is not really, some people think that we are in an information age. We're not. We're not in an information age. We're not in industrial age. We're not in agricultural age. And just a little while ago, we were in a wisdom age. There's plethora of information out there, but the person who could take that information, portion of the information, and make sense of it for a small group of people was thriving. That's what we call an insight age or a wisdom age. That's what the age was. Now you want to start looking at what age we're entering and what age we are in right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the content age now. And listen, I can build a whole case on this. Maybe that'll be a video for another time. But if you can learn one skill, which is the foundation of everything, whether you're writing a book, that's what this video is about, whether you're writing a book, whether you're using social media as a platform for yourself to amplify yourself, to create awareness about your products, your services, and all of that stuff, then content is key. Whether you're using digital marketing or advertising to be able to get your name out, content is the name of the game. Whether you're using social media to build your following, doesn't matter what you're doing. Whether you're an author, whether you're a coach, consultant, self-employed professional, realtor, mortgage broker, investor, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what arena you're. Even if you are simply looking for a job, content is the name of the game, right? And if you can learn the skill of steadily and systematically produce content, you are poised to win. So that was just a side note. We'll talk about that in another video. But let's talk about why 90% of the books fail. Well, here's the thing. Most self-help books are written by authors who are, first-time authors. And these 500,000 books, the statistics that I was talking about, are mostly first-time authors. Now, first-time authors, one of the things that we have found based on my conversations with authors, people who want to write a book, people who are in the process of writing a book over the past like 10 years that I've been in this industry, not only just as an author myself, but also speaking on that topic over the past 10 years. One of the things that I have found is that most authors are not readers themselves, right? Most authors are not readers themselves. And if they're not readers, how the heck would they know how to write a proper book, or how to write a proper structured book, or how to write a book that has a structure of being a bestseller book, right? How would they know what kind of book do they need to write if they need to give their book an opportunity to be a bestseller? Right? Because they're not readers themselves. Most of them get into the idea of writing a book based on, they told their, so they solved some problem in their life, and then they were telling the whole story, for 45, 50 minutes, like I was doing with my buddy, right? And at the end of it, that person said to them, "It's like, hey, shut up telling me this whole thing. You've been talking for 45, 50 minutes. Why don't you write a book instead?" Right? And you're like, "Oh, I got to go write a book." Well, because I am so used to telling my stories like, hey, when I was 5 years old, this is what happened. Then this is what happened when I was 10. Then I was bullied in school. Then I was this. Then this was happened. Then I grew up in a rough neighborhood. And then I got married. And then my spouse and I didn't get along. And then I started eating. And then I got fat. And whatever. Like that's how we human beings mostly tell stories. This is how it happened. Well, guess what happens? When they go to write a book, they start thinking about, it's like, oh, everybody tells me that I got to write a book. So they start writing it in a story format, in a memoir format. Listen, let me say something to you. This might offend you. So please just mind this. Here's the thing. Most people don't care about you. They don't care about me, right? They don't care about me. What do most people care about? Right? What do they care about? They care about themselves and the problems that they're having. What are they looking to solve in their life? Right? Can you get that? Right? So for me as an ordinary Joe, for unless you're a celebrity, you're in a different group, right? But people like you and I, for us to write our memoirs, nobody cares about that. But you want to write a book. And by the way, if you are an author, or if you're considering being an author, or even if you're creating any kind of content on social media, or using any of the platforms, understand this, that your content will create traction. Your book will create traction not if it's written autobiographically, right? Like you're writing an autobiography, or you're writing your memoir, or you're just telling your story from the beginning till the end of times, right? It will, first of all, your book will be successful and will have an opportunity to become a bestseller if your book is written logically instead of chronologically, right? So logically means that you got to first, there are three, and again, I don't want to talk about it in this video, but there are three big components though before you start writing a book. But one of the things is that you want to write a book with your reader in mind, and what is the problem that you're helping them solve? What is the transformation that you're helping them create? And then you sequence the steps. It's like, okay, so if somebody's going to create this transformation, let's work backwards. What does that look like? What is the first thing that they need to do? What is the second thing they need to do? What is the third thing they need to do? And so on and so forth. This serves as an outline for your chapters. Your chapters need to be organized in a sequential way to lead the person to the transformation. And by the way, just a side note, after studying many of the best-selling books and all of that stuff, one of the things that you will find is that books become successful when the readers get hooked to the book. And this is the best way for you to hook somebody in a book, to create sequential rhythm within the chapters. So when they finish reading chapter one, they're like, oh my gosh, like, there's like the next piece. What is the next piece? So like they move to the step two and step three and so on and so forth. And 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 that's how you create it. You see, your book will be successful, your book will be a bestseller if people that you don't know refer your book to people that you don't know. Did you get that? Right? That's how you create a successful book. So if you want to stay out of the arena, and I would strongly advise that you stay out of this group of 90% of the authors of the self-help books that fail, then start learning to write a book keeping the transformation in mind that you want your reader to have, instead of just going out there and talking about your story. And by the way, I'm not saying your story is not important. You weave your story inside of this framework. So every chapter will have some aspect of your story. We'll talk about that. I hope this helped you. I hope this creates some context for you. If you are an author, if you're a coach, if you're a consultant, if you're a self-employed professional, and you're looking to create, I call it an unfair advantage in the marketplace over others who do what you do, then I invite you to go on a journey of writing your own book. I talk about this every Thursday. Every Thursday that I do a webinar. You can click on my website and it will direct you to the webinar that I do. And if you are going to attend that webinar, make sure that you slot out that time, make sure you have a notepad and pen, and start making notes, because I share some golden nuggets in there based on research and based on studying hundreds and thousands of bestsellers. Okay. So hopefully this was of value to you. And I will see you again at another time. Have a good one.